What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel. Check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on LeBron James and a major decision or a major fault that I think that I see in LeBron James. Something that he's done that a lot of big megastars make that I think eventually winds up destroying them, right? And I'm seeing, and I just recently made a video about Jay-Z and how he has done the same thing. And I pointed out a few other like mega stars who make the same mistake. And the thing is, what these guys do and these famous people, they choose big business over their fan base, right? And so when you choose big business over your fan base, you see that in the long run, when big business no longer needs you and you can't go back and fall back on your community, that's basically when they destroy you. And so, with LeBron James, he don't really have the appreciation from the fan base that somebody like a Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, all those guys do. Like it's almost like the president and they when they say like public approval, right? And if once you don't have the public's approval, then your enemies and people who want to take advantage, then they can step in. And you see that happen, like I said in other videos. You've seen it happen with Puff Daddy, you've seen it happen with R. Kelly, you've seen it happen with Bill Cosby, right? First, what they do is they and recently now with Jay-Z and the situation that's going on with Target. Target don't need Jay-Z to smooth over any issues that they might be having with the African American community. If Target was really interested in smoothing over all they would have to do is just make things right. They don't need Jay-Z, but they put Jay-Z in the middle of that to further corrode his public image. So when it's time for them to go at Jay-Z and take Jay-Z down, then they know that Jay-Z publicly is, he washed up publicly. And so looking at LeBron James, LeBron James publicly, I just think, and he plays that villain role. It don't work out for you. It don't work out for you. You have to either be neutral or you gotta be like the good guy in the situation. I'm getting ready to make a video about this too because when you think about like Michael Jordan versus the Bad Boy Pistons and Isaiah Thomas, right? Good versus evil, and that's how that was played out. Good versus evil, and during that time when the Bad Boy Pistons was beating people and they were people thought they were playing dirty and stuff like that, that bad boy image still hurts Isaiah Thomas to this very day. Not only Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, who's the other guy? Rick Mahorn, Dennis Rodman to a certain extent. All just about all of them, except for probably the guy who's with the Pelicans right now. But for the most part, publicly, you don't want to play that villain because that kind of wears on you and it affects your legacy in the long run. And then it sets you up, puts you in a position where as though, like I said, your enemies can come at you and alienate you and take you down. And so that's the position that I see LeBron James in. He's saying and doing some things publicly that a lot of people don't approve of. And your fan base is what can really save you from big business, because just imagine if big business wanted to take Magic Johnson down, and how beloved Magic Johnson is, or say Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson, one of those guys. It's so much harder because the community really look up to those guys and respect those guys, and they have an image publicly that is that's very good. So you can't really it'll be a campaign. You can put some bad stuff out there about all of those guys, right? Any of those guys, but it'll be a campaign. And then at this point in time in their life, they are in a position where they can see it coming, and they can, that's why these guys just keep low profiles and they stay out the public eye, unless it's something positive. You'll see Mike going to those little, he's in NASCAR, or you might see him on a trip or something, at a restaurant or something like that. But they keep low profiles for for the most part, because you got to be careful with your public image. And I see LeBron James putting all this controversial um these takes out there, right? And complaining about this and complaining about that. And I just think it just kind of eats at his public image, and it makes him weaker in the long run, and it's setting him up for, like I said, if one of his enemies want to come and take him down, people want to say, well, that kind of sounds like him, or they'll really be indifferent because he's seen as a villain. Whereas though I think that the thing that LeBron James should have really basically done what Kobe did, just work. Kobe was in a situation where he got some bad press for a situation that happened in what was that, Colorado, with the young lady, right? And ever since then, man, Kobe worked to build his image up because he realized that, you know your image is very important. You weaken yourself when you have those type of situations that Kobe had. But after that, man, Kobe just rededicated himself to basketball, and just, that Black Mamba thing just took over. And Kobe is beloved because of how he played basketball. He was able to put that behind him. And LeBron James, I think, should have endeared himself to the public. I remember the time that LeBron James said that, people who criticize them, they're going to go back to their regular old boring life, and that, that when you say stuff like that, those kind of statements don't age well, don't age well. And then to take on that villain role, like I said, is not wise in my opinion. Whereas though I think that had LeBron just worked hard at his craft, which is basketball, then people would have more people would have grown to appreciate LeBron James. And that's why, when people think about Michael Jordan, they just, people don't really know Michael Jordan personally, but they love basketball, right? And Michael Jordan loved basketball. So there's the connection right there between the public and Michael Jordan. And also not just the connection between the public and Michael Jordan, but his peers. Like, fans see the way Michael Jordan peers respond to him. And that also gives Michael Jordan some more credibility and leverage when it comes to being able to protect himself against, like, big business who might want to take him down in the future. Which I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's just something to consider, because when you're a famous athlete, that's how they do you. They just take your image, and they just start putting stuff out there about you. And if you got that villain role, man, they can make you look real bad and just basically charge you with anything. So had LeBron James been a kind of player that just was like Kobe, just was like a gym rat, um, and put all that work in on a court, which that's what that's his thing, basketball. So why not just perfect your art, but he kind of like thumbed his nose at the public, wasn't really no loyalty. You see how LeBron James did the fan base in Cleveland, not only the fan base, but Cleveland ownership. LeBron James was even instructed to, you don't have, to tell the owner that he was leaving. Not that, you don't have to say where you were going, but at least give them a heads up and let them know that you're leaving. And don't put them in a position where it's embarrassing and they have to find out on TV like everybody else. Give them a heads up. And so LeBron James didn't even do that, right? Which a lot of people thought was a big mistake. Right. So he left, and players leave, but the thing is, like, it just shows that, he had no loyalty. And the main thing, LeBron James, his only concern is LeBron James. And when people see that, they just look at you differently. And LeBron James don't have that fan base, I think, man. And I just think it's going to make him weaker in the future. And this, once he finished playing basketball, I think some things will come out, and he won't have that public support. And just not just LeBron James, but think about any famous person that had, like fell from grace. You can align yourself as a famous person. You can align yourself with big business, right? But then once you are no longer useful to big business and you have separated yourself from from your community, then now you're in a situation where you won't be able to get that support or that backing or that protection that you need from big business. Because believe when I say they, they're going to come at LeBron James sooner or later, especially when LeBron James is no longer useful. They just going to come at him because that's how it worked with all, everybody who's famous. That's how it worked. They build you up, they separate you from your community, then they tear you down. And so, and the way I think is the way to combat that is just never allow anybody to separate you from your community. And LeBron James, like a lot of other people, made that mistake. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, man, I'm gonna check you out in the next video.